Alright, hi everyone. Welcome into another episode of Matt Sports Talk. And in this video, we are going to be looking over, recapping the men's side of things from yesterday. So without further ado, we will dive into that. And before we dive in, I just want to say that if you are brand new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button down below so you're first notified whenever I upload new episodes. And my goal is to hit 500 subscribers by the end of this year. So let's please hit that goal of 500 subscribers. And for those of you that are already subscribed to my channel, thank you so much for doing so. I really appreciate that. And it really and truly means a lot. So our first matchup yesterday will take us up to Fort Wayne, Indiana, where St. Francis hosted Goshen. And this was a close game. However, the Cougars out of Fort Wayne prevailing here by a final score of 80-71. And looking up stats for Goshen, you had, leading the way, 18 points for Marcus Northern. He was 3 of 3 at the line. He did struggle shooting from the floor, just 7 of 20. But he had 5 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 steals, though. Only 2 points for Jaraj Benarovec. He had 3 rebounds, 1 assist. 6 points for Braden Allen, 2 of 3 shooting, 2 of 2 at the line. He had 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and a steal. 10 points for Cameron Williams, 4 of 11 shooting, 2 of 2 at the line. He had 6 rebounds, 3 assists, plus a steal and a block, though. And then you had 4 points for Kenny May. Really struggled shooting from the floor at 2 of 8, but he had 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 steal. And then off the bench, you had 12 points for Jacob Carlson, 4 of 11 shooting, 2 of 6 from deep, 2 of 2 at the line. He had 7 rebounds. Really, really good to see that. 3 points for Deacon Hill in just 8 minutes of action, 1 of 1 shooting, which was all from beyond the arc. He also had 1 rebound. 11 points for Caleb Thompson, 4 of 9 shooting, 3 of 8 of that was from deep. He had 1 assist and 1 rebound. And then 5 points for Joshua Gentry off 2 of 4 shooting with 6 rebounds, 2 steals, 1 block. And Goshen shot 37 from the field, 24 from 3, so not really great numbers there. But they were really good at 3 at their line, converting 10 out of 12 for 83%. And for the home team of St. Francis, they were way better from the field at 44. They were slightly worse from 3, albeit by not a lot at 23. And they were worse at the free throw line, converting 11 out of 17 for 64. And the stats, and looking at stats for them, you had 18 points from Mar Avance, 6 of 14 shooting, 6 of 8 at the line. He had 6 assists, 5 rebounds, and a steal. 7 points from Malachi King, 2 of 11 shooting, but he did have 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 steals, though. You also had 16 points for Braden Messenger off 6 of 10 shooting, 3 of 7 from deep, 11 rebounds, so a double-double for him. And then you had only 2 points for Joe Reedy, but he had 6 rebounds and 2 blocks, though. And then 10 points for Javon Lewis, with 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal. And off the bench, you had Keyshawn McNeil with 2 points and 3 rebounds, 4 points for Eugene Young Jr. with 2 rebounds, and 17 points for Carson Rogers, 8 of 12 shooting with 11 rebounds and 5 assists, so a double-double for him. And then 4 points for Trey Dillard off, off 2 of 3 shooting. And that was your matchup there. And then the next matchup will take us down to Indianapolis, Indiana, where number 24 Taylor went to Marion, and Taylor the winners here, 68-42. And for the first time since 2008, they held Marion to just 42 points, their lowest amount of points between the two teams, meaning that that was the lowest amount of points that Taylor had held Marion to since both teams met back in 2008. So now obviously Taylor and Marion play each other every year, but it was the first time since 2008 that the Trojans held the Knights to under 50 points in a game. Pardon me. And Taylor had some good scoring, really good balanced scoring all the way around. 11 points leading the way was Anthony McGee. He had 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. He did struggle from the floor at just 4 of 14. And then 3 points for Isaiah Day. He also struggled shooting at 1 of 8, but he had 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 3 blocks, though. So really, really good to see that. And then 8 points for Pete Combs. Struggled shooting at 2 of 7, but he was 3 of 4 at the line with 1 rebound, 2 assists, 2 steals. 9 points for Carson Gold. 3 of 7 shooting. 3 of 6 of that was from deep. He had 7 assists, 3 rebounds as well. And then 5 points for Nate Paulberg off 2 of 3 shooting with 4 rebounds and an assist. Off the bench, 2 points for TJ Davidson, which was both of a charity stripe, 3 rebounds for him. 7 points for Ano Wogar, 2 of 6 shooting, 1 of 3 from deep, 2 of 4 at the line, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block. 11 points for Levin Smith and 9 rebounds, so nearly a double-double, but not quite. 4 of 5 shooting for him, 2 of 2 at the line. And then Joey Heaston in 3 minutes of action, no statistics. And Caleb Edwards in 4 minutes of action had 1 rebound. And Nathan Baker, 12 points off the bench, 4 of 4 shooting, 1 of 1 from deep, 3 of 3 at the line, 9 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. And the Trojans shot 38% from the field, 27 from deep, so not great numbers there, but really good at free throw line, converting 16 out of 20 for 80. And for the Knights really struggled shooting from the floor at just 27 and were way worse from 3 at 13 and worse at the free throw line, albeit by not a lot, converting 6 out of 10 for 60. And leading the way was Dylan Moles with 8 points, 4 of 9 shooting with 2 rebounds. Only 3 points for Ron Rutland III, but he had 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 blocks, though. 8 points for Aaron Humphrey Jr. with 9 rebounds, and 4 points for Aiden Franks with 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and a block, and 2 points for Josiah Gustin with 12 rebounds, 2 assists. Off the bench, you had Nate Luce in 1 minute of action, no statistics. Joshua Renfro with 4 points, 2 of those were charity stripe with a steal and a block. Alhaji Diallo did not score, but he had 2 steals and 2 rebounds, though. And then Luke Carroll, 7 points with 1 rebound and 1 steal. Luke Lindemann only with 2 points with a rebound, and Blake Russell in 12 minutes of action with 4 points. 2 of those were at the line, 5 rebounds, and a steal for him. And that was your matchup there. The next matchup will take us to Huntington, Indiana, where receiving votes Huntington hosted number 10 Bethel, and Huntington with the huge upset here, 82-80, and leading the way for Bethel. Bethel had really good scoring. Leading the way was Alonis Basilius with 18 points, 12 rebounds, a double-double for him. 7 of 13 shooting, 4 of 6 at the line with 3 assists. 13 points for Luke McBride, 4 of 9 shooting, 4 of 4 at the line, 3 rebounds, and 4 steals, though. 17 points for Austin Kripe, 5 of 10 shooting from deep, 3 rebounds and an assist. 8 points for Bo Jacque, 4 of 7 shooting. I stand corrected, with 4 rebounds, and then 4 points for Colin Comer with 1 rebound. Off the bench, Mason Bales, 7 points in 7 minutes of action with 3 of 3 shooting, 1 of 1 from deep, plus a steal. You also had 4 points for Jameer Jefferson, 2 of 3 shooting with 5 rebounds, 4 assists. 7 points for Carter Kent, and all 3 of 8 shooting. Andrew Hedrick with only 1 point, but he had 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal, though. And only 1 point for Alex Ellenson, which was at the free throw line in 2 minutes of action with a rebound. And the Pilots, they didn't shoot the ball bad from the field at 46. Not bad from 3 at 36 either, but they really struggled at the free throw line, converting just 12 out of 22. For 54%, and the Pilots had a season low of just 3 turnovers compared to 11 for Huntington. Now for Huntington, the difference in this game was the shooting. The Foresters shot 51 from the field, a blistering 52 from 3, and they also struggled at the free throw line, converting 13 out of 22 for just 59. And leading the way for the Foresters was Caden Johnson, really no surprise here. 18 points, 12 rebounds, another double-double, 8 of 15 shooting. He had 5 assists, a steal, and a block. 16 points for Miles Good, all 5 of 8 shooting, 2 of 3 from deep, 4 of 5 at the line with 2 rebounds. 15 points for Cade Brenner, 5 of 11 shooting, 5 of 10 of that was from beyond the arc. He also had 5 rebounds. 8 points for Keelan Lassisi with 11 rebounds and 2 assists, so not bad. 8 points, 11 rebounds, really, really good numbers. That's for sure. 2 of 5 shooting, 4 of 6 at the line for him, and 15 points for Jackson Paul. 5 of 9 shooting, 2 of 3 from deep, 3 of 4 at the line with 5 assists and 3 rebounds. Off the bench, Jackson Jones, 2 minutes of action, had a rebound. 5 points for Landon Beagle with 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal, and 5 points for Matthew Spears, 2 of 2 shooting, 1 of 1 from deep with an assist and 2 rebounds. And that was your matchup there. And the next matchup takes us to Mount Vernon, Ohio, where MVNU hosted number 1 Grace, and Mount Vernon with a humongous upset here, 79-66. And now Mount Vernon always plays Grace tough, is what it seems. And Mount Vernon doing that here, winning by 13. They held Grace to a season low 32% from the field, a season low 22% from deep. Now Grace was really good at the free throw line, converting 16 out of 20 for 80%. 14 points was Hunter Walston, leading the way for Grace. 6 of 17 shooting, 2 of 9 from deep with 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. 11 points for Gage Sefton. He struggled shooting, but was just 3 of 13 from the floor, but he was 3 of 4 at the line with 5 rebounds and a block, though. 10 points for Tyler Rouse, 4 of 5 at the line, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 blocks. And then you had 4 points for Ian Rouse, 2 of 4 shooting, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal. And then Grady Carpenter did not score, but he had 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal, though. And off the bench, you had 10 points for Michael Wellman, 3 of 8 shooting, 2 of 6 from deep, 2 of 2 at the line, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and a block. Cannon Hauser did not score, but he had a rebound, and 17 points from Gavin Benton, 5 of 12 shooting, 7 of 7 at the line, 7 rebounds. And then for MVNU, they shot better from the field at 43, better from 3 at 36. Now they struggled at the free throw line, converting 15 out of 24 for 62. And leading the way for Mount Vernon was Trent Koning with 14 points, 5 of 12 shooting, 3 of 8 from deep, 7 assists, 3 steals, 4 rebounds. Peyton Heiss, 12 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 2 of 5 from deep for him, 4 of 4 at the line. And then you also had 5 points for Kieran Granville. He struggled shooting at just 1 of 4, but he was 3 of 5 at the line. And he also had 11 rebounds and a block. And then you had 11 points as well for Reed Platfoot, 4 of 7 shooting with 6 rebounds and 3 assists. And then 7 points for Abib, 3 of 8 shooting, 1 of 3 from deep. He had 7 rebounds plus 4 assists. Off the bench, 3 points for Grant Burkholder in 5 minutes of action with 2 steals and 1 assist. 7 points for Devin Dreyer, all 3 of 5 shooting with 3 assists and 1 rebound. And the biggest one was Isaiah Brown, who's just coming back from injury. And on the year, MVNU has only lost 2 games, or 3 games rather, all year with Isaiah Brown playing. That was against I think it was against Campbellsville and non-conference. And then the only other games this year where Isaiah Brown has played, where Mount Vernon has lost, has come against Indiana Wesleyan at Mount Vernon last month, and then up at and then up at Spring Arbor last week, because Brown played off the bench up at Spring Arbor last Saturday and was 1 of 8 shooting. So MVNU has only lost 3 games all year with Isaiah Brown playing. He had 20 points off the bench yesterday, 8 of 15 shooting, 4 of 6 of the line. He had 1 rebound, and that was your match up there. And the final matchup will take us to Spring Arbor, Michigan, where number 5 Indiana Wesleyan faced off against the Cougars of Spring Arbor, and Indiana Wesleyan prevailing here by a final score of 85-50. And for Indiana Wesleyan, they continue just with their unbelievable stretch. They won 7 straight games, and they shot over 50% from the field on Wednesday against Huntington. Actually, I think they shot 60% from the field against Huntington Wednesday. They shot over 50% from deep, and they once again did that yesterday. And yesterday, for the Wildcats, they continued just shooting lights out. 54% from the field yesterday, 62% from deep, so really, really good to see that. They did struggle at the free throw line, converting 8 out of 14 for 57, and they only had 6 turnovers compared to 12 for Spring Arbor. And leading the way for the Wildcats was Miller McCartney, 15 points, 5 of 7 shooting, 3 of 5 from deep, 2 of 3 at the line, 5 rebounds, and a steal. You only had 5 points for Jake Smith, but he had 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal, though. And then you had 14 points for Cademan Bontrager, 5 of 13 shooting, so he did struggle shooting from the floor, but he was 3 of 3 at the line, 9 rebounds, and a block. And you also had 12 points for Julius Gizzi, 4 of 8 shooting, 2 of 4 from deep, 2 of 4 at the line, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal. DJ Moore did not score, but he had 4 assists, 1 steal, and 1 rebound, though. And then off the bench, you had Matthew Brown in 2 minutes of action, no statistics. 2 minutes of action, Connor Hassong, no statistics. And the big one off the bench was Isaac Andrews, really no surprise here. 15 points, 6 of 9 shooting, 3 of 4 from deep, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. And Noah Reed in 5 minutes of action did not score, but he had 3 rebounds, though. And then Crew Gibson, 9 points, 4 of 5 shooting, 1 from deep, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. 9 points for Marcus Ankney, 3 of 3 shooting, which was all from deep, with 2 assists. And then 4 points for Cliff Gashumba in just 2 minutes of action, 2 of 2 shooting. He also had 1 rebound. And then 2 points for Kevin Sakis with 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and a block. And then leading the way for Spring Arbor, leading the way was Travis Grayson with 10 points, 3 of 6 shooting, 4 of 4 at the line, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and a steal. 8 points for David Cundiff, 3 of 9 shooting, 2 of 4 from deep, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal. Only 2 points for Shane Reisky, but with 1 rebound. And you had 10 points for Brandon Trilly, 3 of 9 shooting, 2 of 4 from deep, 2 of 2 at the line, 2 rebounds, 2 assists for him. 7 points for Dante Favor with 4 rebounds and 2 assists. Off the bench, Cam Radaker did not score. In 2 minutes of action, Warwick Elder had a steal and a rebound. In 9 minutes of action, Eli White, 3 points in 6 minutes of action. Trace Mahler, 2 minutes of action, no statistics. Aiden Zank did not score either, but he had 2 rebounds, though. Ty Reisky, 4 points off the bench, 2 of 2 at the line, 2 rebounds. Jaden Nimako, 2 minutes of action, did not actually have 1 point. That was at the charity stripe. Colt Nelson, in 3 minutes of action, had a rebound. And then Brandon King, 9 points, or 5 points off the bench, excuse me, in 9 minutes, 2 of 5 shooting, 1 of 2 from deep with a rebound and an assist. And Indiana Wesleyan held the Cougars of Spring Arbor to just 32% from the floor, 35 from 3. Now, the one bright spot for Spring Arbor, they were really good at the free throw line, converting 10 out of 12 for 83%, and that was your matchup there. So, previewing all the games for Wednesday, you will have St. Francis at number 24 Taylor, receiving votes Huntington at Goshen, Spring Arbor at number 10 Bethel, and you will have Marion at number 1 Grace. The new top 25 polls come out on Wednesday, so obviously these rankings are going to change on Wednesday morning prior to all these games. And then you'll have Mount Vernon Nazarene at number 5 Indiana Wesleyan, and I will be at that game on Wednesday night, at least for the first half, since it's a 4-hour drive home from IWU here to Mount Vernon, but still really, really excited to be there. And it's hard to believe the second to last home game of the regular season for the Wildcats, at least on the women's side. So definitely want to go and cheer on the girls and have some fun and make more memories these final 2 home games of this season, barring a miracle for the Lady Wildcats. Obviously, we'll see how the postseason holds in terms of maybe massive upsets in the league tournament, perhaps an at-large bid. I'll talk more about the Lady Wildcats in my women's recap video, which will be coming your way momentarily. And then looking at the updated standings, with 4 games to go on the men's side, you'll have Grace still that number 1 seed at 12-2. However, the Wildcats of Indiana Wesleyan now solely up to that number 2 seed at 11-3. So things are really, really tightening up on the men's side with 4 games to go. The Bethel Pilots, 1 game behind the Wildcats. Bethel, the 3 seed at 10-4. 1 game behind them are Huntington and Taylor, both by number 4 and the number 5 seed, respectively at 9-5. 3 games behind them, Mount Vernon Nazarene, the 6 seed solely at 6-8. Spring Arbor solely the 7 seed at 5-9. And St. Francis solely the 8 seed at 4-10. Goshen and Marion tied at 2-12 for the 9 and 10 seed. Obviously, Goshen and Marion fighting for that final playoff spot. As you know, the top 8 teams in the Crossroads League make the league tournament. So obviously for St. Francis with 1 more win, actually for St. Francis either 2 wins or a combined 2 losses by Goshen and Marion, that would lock St. Francis up into that, at least that number 8 seed at the absolute worst. So obviously things are still really, really tight. More than likely, Huntington and Taylor both will be the 4 and the 5 seed, no worse, respectively, with either 1 more win by both Huntington and Taylor, and or 1 more loss by Mount Vernon Nazarene. And therefore, if that happens, then Huntington and Taylor would officially lock no worse than the 4 and the 5 seed, respectively. And for the Wildcats to lock up at least that number 2 spot, they more than likely need 2 more wins and or 2 losses by Huntington and Taylor. And while at the same time, the Wildcats definitely would need more than likely 2 Bethel losses as well out of the last 4 games. And the Wildcats, ideally for the Wildcats, they need 3 out of the last 5 to get to 14 wins. And if they do that, then I don't think Huntington and Taylor could not catch them, and the same holds for Bethel. So it's going to be interesting to see how all that plays out, especially because Indiana Wesleyan still has to play Bethel and Grace again. That is for sure. So it's going to be interesting to see how all that plays out. So if you did enjoy this video, please either like, comment, or subscribe. Any one of those options helps me out greatly. I truly appreciate any feedback that you may provide me. So thanks so much for tuning into this video, and I will see you momentarily for my women's recap video, and it's going to be awesome, so make sure that you stay tuned for that. Thanks so much for tuning into this video, and I will see you momentarily. God bless.